If you're interested in an alternative second program for your stroke survivor that can be carried out on a daily basis, then this video and chapter 20 of Lights, Mirrors, Action will describe a number of therapies and, more importantly, the sequence that they should be carried out in for you. Hi there, I'm Dr. Kenneth Monaghan. I'm a university lecturer, I'm a neuroplasticity expert, and I'm the author of Lights, Mirrors, Action, a guide for transforming the lives of caregivers and stroke survivors. I'm hugely passionate about trying to assist caregivers and stroke survivors, to make or adapt their home as an ideal place for them to carry out their physical rehabilitation after they've had a stroke. So, an alternative evening program that can be carried out for your stroke survivor still stays within the model of Lights, Mirrors, Action. Now, just to recap, we mentioned before that Lights stands for the type of therapies that wake or warm up the body. And we've mentioned walking and stretching as something that we do during that phase. So a little bit like athletes who pre-activate and get their bodies ready to carry out activity. Your stroke survivor does the same thing. And walking is the ideal exercise that can be carried out to achieve this. Mirrors within Lights, Mirrors, Actions stands for innovative therapies that excite or create extra activation within the brain and potentially allow an environment or create an environment that allows neuroplasticity to flourish and for your stroke survivor to, open up and regain new dormant pathways that haven't been working. And this is the purpose of our neuroplasticity. And action, as we've said, is everything that takes place after the formal therapy is over. And your stroke survivor, in my opinion, should be encouraged to carry out all functional, everyday activities of daily living. So lifting, trying to take steps, do normal activities that they would carry out in the evening time if they had not had this stroke. But because you've created the environment with the therapies, with the innovative activation, your stroke survivor potentially has a much better chance of regaining normal function. We mentioned as well before in previous videos that there's a number of concepts that your stroke survivor should definitely be reminded of. And this is part of the expectation priming that takes place within the evening program. So the first concept or the first part of an evening program is to expectation prime the brain of your stroke survivor so that they, are already activated and ready to benefit from the program that's going to take place afterwards. And we said before that you'll remind them that their home is a brilliant place for rehab to take place. There are huge advantages of being in your own home. Examples being because of the environment so well known, because of the sights, the sounds, the smells, the people who are in there. It makes it a brilliant environment. Number two, the fact that your brain acts like a pharmacy and your brain creates an environment in your body that's based on what we believe and what we think will happen. So if we think we can or we think we can't, we're usually correct. So our brain acts like a pharmacy, and we've mentioned before the famous milkshake experiment, which proves this. The third is that, the better that your stroke survivor is educated about therapies and how they work and why they will be successful and what they will do in your body, the better the outcomes they're going to get from those. And again, we mentioned the Expectation Effect book from David Robson, which every person should really read. It's such a fantastic read. The fourth concept being that 10,000 repetitions for success is our mantra. So hashtag 10,000 repetitions for success is what we mention in Lights, Mirrors, Action all the time. So based on Malcolm Gladwell's famous book Outliers, where he discusses the idea or the principle of 10,000 hours for success, this 10,000 repetitions, it follows on from all of the UK, the Irish, the American stroke guidelines that suggest that the more repetitions that stroke survivors carry out be they on the upper limb, moving the hands, the fingers, be they steps that are taken with the legs. The more repetitions that are done, the better the chance that that person has of receiving a better recovery. And finally, the ability to be able to prove to your stroke survivor that they are making progress is such an important concept and such an important element of the success of a program at home. And we've mentioned in Chapter 9 in Lights, Mirrors, Action again, a number of very simple techniques that can be used, simple measurements that can be taken, that can just show your stroke survivor the little bit of progress that they're making. And remember, when you see progress happening in your body responds by releasing extra testosterone and creating an environment that makes further recovery much more likely and much more possible. So the program that I'm suggesting in the evening time begins, as we've said, with our expectation priming, the same as our morning program. So just mentioning, focusing on all of the positive messages of the therapies that are to take place, the positive messages about the environment that you're in, and the positive messages about who's helping you and assisting at your program. Just mentioning these things and reminding your stroke survivor before they start their programs, this has a hugely positive effect on them. Our first physical therapy that's going to be taken is the walking. And we mentioned walking is such a fantastic therapy. And we're suggesting that from 2-3 minutes, if walking is possible, we're trying to take more and more steps. And the more that walking is possible, the more walking is done. And it warms up our bodies and it increases the viscosity of our tissues and makes us, readied and a little bit readied and warmed up for therapy to take place. The first therapy that we're going to mention is one of our mirror. So mirror represents the innovative therapies that we've discussed throughout Lights, Mirrors, Actions, and therapies that have been researched within my own Neuroplasticity Research Group. And the first one that's going to be mentioned is cross-education effect. And again, we discuss this in one of the chapters in Lights, Mirrors, Action, where we discuss what cross-education effect is. And you'll see that the therapy that's carried out is done so with the non-affected arm using a very simple resistance band. And the important point, the important message and reminder with this is the timing of the exercises. So when we're doing that band or moving the band, we're bringing it out in 2 seconds, 1001, 1002, and we're bringing the arm back to its original position in 4 seconds. So again, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. And this is going to take place throughout all of the exercises. And then finally, another, exciting, excite the brain type of therapy, again, that's been researched in our group, is the sensory substitution effect that we've discussed before. The idea that we use our senses, and sense of sound, hearing, taste, touch, all of these senses can be adapted and can be used to make up for sensory information or information that should travel to the brain, but which often doesn't because of the stroke. And we've mentioned a very simple technique using a digital weighing scales where the patient can try and feel and learn to feel correct weight bearing on the limb that's affected. So these are the therapies in the evening program, and I want to wish you huge success by trying and attempting these. As we've said in previous videos as well, give yourself the chance to do these therapies for a number of weeks, and we've suggested trying to aim for 4 weeks initially. But try the therapies that we've suggested. All of them are safe to be done at home, but some of the therapies you will get a feeling, or you will get an instinctive feeling that you like them and that they work very well for you, and you may get an instinctive feeling that they don't work so well. And use that initiative and become active in choosing which therapies you undertake. But for the most part, I'm recommending that we try and do these for this 4 weeks to get us started off. And I wish you the very best of luck with your recovery program. Now, if you want to find out a little bit more information and see videos that show and demonstrate how to do these therapies, then please go to my website, which is www.lightsmirrorsaction.com, and there you'll find some links to YouTube channel and to videos and to resources such as PDF documents and worksheets and workbooks that will help you. I wish you all the very best of luck. It's very exciting to be doing your homework and your program at home, and the chances are that you will have a huge ability to improve and recover from your stroke by doing these therapies and doing them intensely. So the very best of luck, and thank you very much for listening.